President-elect Trump's ambitious plans to annex Greenland and the Panama Canal and even Canada are getting major blowback on the world stage this morning. I'm Scripps News correspondent Holly Furfer in Atlanta, and you're watching Morning Rush. During a news conference held at his Mar-a-Lago estate on Tuesday, Trump doubled down on his propositions, telling reporters that not only are Greenland and Panama Canal in his sights, but that he would not rule out using military or economic pressure to obtain them.
Can you assure the world that as you try to get control of these areas, you are not going to use military or economic coercion?
You're talking about Panama and Greenland. No, I can't assure you on either of those two. But I can say this, we need them for economic security.
Greenland is a Danish territory, and Denmark's Prime Minister Mette Frederiksen is making it clear this morning that there will be no negotiations as far as control of Greenland is concerned. She's told a Danish television station that the island is not for sale and that she and other Danish leaders will, quote, stay calm and stick to our principles. And Trump, who appears unfazed by that pushback, has continued to press the issue while also pushing the narrative that Canada should become this country's 51st state. In a series of posts to his Truth Social website, he's depicted the U.S. and Canadian parts of North America as one entity, and he's claimed that many Canadians support the idea of American statehood. But one notable Canadian who does not support that idea is outgoing Prime Minister Justin Trudeau, who wrote in a post on X, quote, there isn't a snowball's chance in hell that Canada would become a part of the United States. Workers and communities in both our countries benefit from being each other's biggest trading and security partner. All right, well, Scripps News Deputy Political Director Joe St. George joins me now live from Washington. Joe, let's just get right to the bottom here. So how serious is Trump about acquiring Greenland?
Well, if you listen to that press conference yesterday, given the fact that he's just a few days away from beginning his second term of office, the fact that he's talking about acquiring it, the fact that his son, Donald Trump Jr., traveled to Greenland yesterday along with conservative activists. There was podcast filming there. There was social media content filmed showing MAGA supporters in Greenland. This is something that we as journalists have to cover seriously. Not just Greenland ambitions, not just Canada ambitions, not just Panama Canal ambitions, the renaming of the Gulf of Mexico to the Gulf of America. These are all things that are at least percolating on the mind of President-elect Donald Trump, again, just days ahead of his inauguration. Important context related to Greenland, I think, though, is needed here. Holly, you and I work for a media company that's been around a while. The EW Scripps Media Company was founded back in 1878 or so. We can go back in the archives to the 1940s. If we were streaming along back then, we may be talking about President Truman's desire to acquire Greenland. President Truman in the 1940s talked about possibly purchasing Greenland and because of national security reasons and implications. If that would have happened, it would have been the largest land deal in U.S. history since the Louisiana Purchase. So regarding Greenland, President-elect Trump isn't the first president to at least bring up this idea. As you alluded to at the top there, his obstacles are many, and they are vast, and they are complicated. For one, Greenland's leaders have said they don't want to become part of the United States. Greenland is an autonomous territory of Denmark, as you highlighted, and Denmark's foreign minister this morning has said that, well, Greenland may become an independent state, no longer attached to Denmark. There's no way, essentially, the foreign minister said that they would make it a part of the U.S. territory. So I think the big question now is, once President-elect Trump is in the Oval Office, does this issue rise to the level of being a top priority? How much is he willing how far is he willing to go economically pressure Greenland, militarily pressure Greenland, Denmark, others, to get some of his goals? Or is this just a fodder that makes for good television segments like here on Scripps News on a Wednesday morning? So we'll see, but we have to take this very seriously, because the president-elect has made clear that when he takes over again on January 20th, he has experience behind him, and he's committed to doing what he said he wants to do.
Well, and Joe, has there been any legislation introduced related to Trump's international ambitions at all?
Well, renaming the Gulf of Mexico Gulf of America. Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene, the Republican congresswoman from Georgia, has at least released some text of what that would look like. Remember, the president-elect, when he's president again, would oversee things like the National Weather Service, NOAA. Would he order that agency, when there's another hurricane in the Gulf, to refer to it as the Gulf of America in official government paperwork when he gets an official government briefing? Would FEMA refer to it as the Gulf of America? I mean, these are ways that you could see how this gets implemented if this truly is the desire of President-elect Trump. I don't think Mexico will stop calling it Gulf of Mexico anytime soon, but this is at least where you are right now on this particular issue. Again, I think all of this speaks to just how much change is forthcoming in the United States come January 20th. It's been quite a news cycle to start our 2025, hasn't it, Holly? With the death of President Carter, attacks in New Orleans. I think maybe we've forgotten a little bit about just how much change is coming across everything, domestically and internationally. And one more note on the Greenland story. I was checking in with one of my sources on this morning, and said people forget how this would be viewed around the world. If the U.S. suddenly starts acquiring more land, what message does that send to Russia? What message does that send to China? One of the many angles of this story that we'll be following in the weeks to come, Holly.
Yeah, and it's going to continue to be a very busy news cycle, I think. I think we're just beginning, and that's why we're so glad that you're there in Washington. Scripps News Deputy Political Director Joe St. George. Thanks, Joe.